Hello, I'm Gary Lyon and welcome to the 2014 wash-up for the Collingwood Football Club. The Pies have missed the finals for the first time in 8 years. Damo, is that a fail or did we kind of expect it?
Only one way to look at it, guys. It's a fail, and no, we didn't expect it. They got to the Queen's birthday stage with 8 wins, missed the finals, and as the situation got dire for the club, publicly they changed the narrative, which we'll touch on in the next few moments, but no, fail for sure for me.
All right, well, let's try and find a highlight for the year, and when you miss finals, I guess the next biggest game for Collingwood is Anzac Day against Essendon. Have a look at this. First goal kicked in this second quarter, 13 minutes to go. There's 6 goals down at this stage. Essendon jumped them in the first quarter, and it was on the back of this man who they missed, probably from about this point forward, Dane Swan, who had some horrible injuries throughout the course of the year and finished the season in a tracksuit. He kicked 4 goals that day and won the medal, had 26 possessions, and right then we thought, OK, this is the next phase of Swanee's career. He's going to be a midfield forward that maybe ends up kicking 40 goals. It wasn't to be, symptomatic probably of where Collingwood were at, but right there, that was the season highlight. Just
feels such a long time ago now, doesn't it, that particular performance, given what we now know did happen. My highlight, goes to the captain, Scott Pendlebury. Things fell about and down around him, but this man just stood up from round 1 right through to round 23. He was banged up in the end, and yet he was still putting himself out there late in the piece, still influencing particular stages of matches. And Gaz, first year as captain, I don't think he could have done anything more than he did in 2014.
No, obvious, but hard to argue, Damo. You haven't delved too deeply into it, but I mean, he maintained a terrifically high standard throughout the year. And some of those midfield teammates of his, Dane Beams and Swan, sort of fell around him and he kept the standard. So well done. Let's go to a low light. Travis Cloke, for me, hasn't got it done. Admitted on the week, in weeks gone by, that his form had dropped off. 39 goals from a big key forward isn't enough. His goal kicking still remains a bit of an issue. He needs some help down there. But
is it because he's 2 years into a 5-year deal, guys? There's a bit of sense of comfort around the future with him.
I don't buy into that. You'd have to ask Trav whether that was the case. But I think they need to settle him down, whether it be the centre-half forward or the deep forward. We'll talk about some support maybe for him, but he was a low light for me. Yeah,
my low light, Gaz, was just a horrific run of injuries. It's happened 2 years in a row now. The club's saying that this year's games lost tally slightly less, but it was more damning this year. Soft tissues killed them and cruelled them in the end. It's a situation where Bill Davern, we'll touch on him in a moment, is under pressure. He's not going to lose his job, and nor should he on the back of 1 year of bad problems, but it just culled them throughout the course of the year. And it happened on the training track too, which is probably the biggest issue when it's all said and done.
We brought attention to that here on the Access All areas about 2/3 of the way through the year.
Who's your Christmas bonus, Gaz?
Tom Langdon, a young man that missed out on a draft when he thought he was going to be drafted, so he thought he had no Christmas bonus. He got a sack of coal. Well, this year, give him the bonus because he started the season in fantastic form across half-back. Understandably, had a bit of a low point through the middle of the year, got some injuries. But when Nick Maxwell goes, you need to replace him. I think this bloke is ready-made. He is the ideal Nick Maxwell replacement, so a little bonus. What about you?
I'm going for Jamie Elliott. The club really hurt when he wasn't around through various stages of the year. I mean, this is the sort of tricks he's got. Look, he's taken good steps every AFL season on his career. The challenge now, Gaz, is can he convert what we're seeing there inside the forward 50 to up and around the centre of the ground as a midfielder? Collingwood's going to need him to do that at this stage. Not sure his body's going to be allowed to do that just yet into 215, but that's the challenge for him because he's pretty much achieved it all to this point of his, and within context of his career to this stage.
Wear out about 4 pairs of the old Adidas runners over the summer, does Jamie Elliott, and hopefully he and Dane Swan, I reckon, can share that midfield forward role. It'll be a nice mix.
Who goes on your chopping block for the Pies?
Marty Clark, the Irishman. I love the Irish experiment.
Talking about Captain Obvious.
Well, you didn't bring it up, so I thought I'd better. They gave up a first-round draft pick somewhere along the way, I think, for Marty Clark.
To get him back,
so that just hasn't panned out. So that's chopping block stuff for me. What about you?
Well, I'm going to go for 2 off-field people. Bill Davern, who we've touched on, just with the high-performance problems that footy club had, and also Gary Pert. Made some very strong statements, and I love strong statements, but the problem when you make strong statements and they don't follow through is that you leave yourself
statements open. That you don't like.
Collingwood's going to win a premiership in 3 years, and we need to finish top 4, and we'll finish top 4. They missed the finals in the first year of that particular statement, and they're not going to win a premiership in 3 years.
Oh, strong from you, Damon. What do they need to improve? What sort of players do they need to recruit? I think support for Travis Cloke. They've gone down the Quentin Lynch path, retired, fail. Gone down the Jesse White part. For me, that's not going to cut it. He's not going to be a premiership centre-half forward.
Yep.
I think Ben Reid needs to go back after an interrupted year again with injury. Go and play him at centre-half back and make him the cornerstone of your defence. And now they've got to find a big key forward for Trav Cloak.
Okay, well, I'm also looking at a bit of a recruiting bent too. No one's a bigger fan of Derek Kine than I am, Gaz, but I reckon this time now around he needs to look at players above 183 centimetres.
Oh, that's disrespectful.
183 centimetres, Gaz. It's the key to this particular exercise I'm highlighting here on the wash-up for Collingwood. Those 8 names there, all under that particular height, and we'll go into another screen. There's another... They're all good players, Gaz.
But I thought it was only a one screener.
No, there's 2 screens on that. And there's just too many of them at that height. And this has become a big man's game around the ball. Look at Fremantle, Barlow, Mundy. Yeah. I know they're hard to find, but they've got to stop going for the small guys.
Hard to argue. Scharenberg, I think, was hopefully going to be that player, but he's out for a year. Right? Where are they going to finish for you?
I've got them going down as bad as this year was. I don't see too much that happened in 2014 that makes me think right now they're going up.
All right, well, I'm going to buck the trend here. I'm going to tip that they go back up. And I know people will raise their eyebrows at that, but I like them as an up.
How can you have them going up?
11th on the ladder. Injuries cruelled them. They missed the finals by a bees, Damo. I think they can bounce back up.
I think you're being very generous.
Maybe so. Time will tell. Thank you, Damien. That's the wash-up for the Maggies in 2014.